That's bad news for Oleksandr Usyk. That ring will get smaller and smaller and smaller for him.
Pro boxing fans here in London, something a bit different. We are at a bowling alley in London. We've got a few of the fighters here. We've got Moses Itauma. I don't want him to actually throw a ball. We might break one of the lanes.
I reckon he bowls overarm. He's a monster, this fella, I'm telling you.
You've been in here. Tommy Fletcher's been smashing out there, a few strikes, yeah. So I think, if anything, if he wants to call it a day in boxing, he might have a...
Well, look, Tommy Fletcher's in there. Alois Jr.'s over there. A couple of cruiserweight prospects. There's security around. Maybe they're going to be needed. Who knows? Who knows? No, we wouldn't condone any sort of handbags.
Dev, you love it. You love that, innit? You do.
I love it. It's just good fun. It's good when you got young, hungry fighters around each other, potential rivals for the future. Something a bit different to do with the media as well. A bit of bowling, and I'm sure as a media member you are bowled over by this.
You know, it's different. Let's put it that way. But do you want to talk about a few of the lads out here? Some great fighters. Sam Noakes, we know, 11 fights, 11 knockouts, dynamite face. Obviously, his brother Sean Noakes is there. We got Alois Jr., who had a tough debut, to say the least. Obviously, Moses Itauma is probably one of the most looked at prospects at Frank Warren or Queensberry. Good little amount of fighters on the undercard for Zhang-Joyce, right?
I think so, mate. I think you just mentioned Moses Itauma there. This will be fight number 5 for him. He's taking on a guy who has, he's taken some good fighters the distance. I think Tommy Welsh he's taken the distance, so he's only been done once, stopped once. Moses Itauma will be looking to do a job. He's been taking the distance his last couple of fights against very, very durable heavyweights that don't get bashed up. And I think he was a bit frustrated with some of the last fight, but that's all part of his experience, part of his learning. And I think we'll see an even better Moses Itauma on Saturday. Honestly, I look at him over there. I can't believe he's 18 years old and just spars Zhang-Joyce, just spars Daniel Dubois. Like he was sparring Zhang-Joyce quite recently, from what I've heard. He was sparring Dubois to help him for Usyk and stuff like that. There's not many good southpaw heavyweights around, and he is very, very good. So he's getting himself a lot of work sparring as well. So his development's unreal.
Obviously, when people look at prospects, they like to be overly critical. Obviously, Moses Itauma, there was a big plan with Moses to get him to be the youngest heavyweight champion of the world. Obviously, he's not had the knockouts that every fight knockout. But when you look online, then people are saying, listen, he's just like any other prospect. He's just going to do what he's going to do, and maybe he's not that special. What do you want to say to them critics?
Just keep watching. Keep watching, keep criticising. Before long, there won't really be much to criticise. That's my opinion on him. I think he's going all the way to the very top. He's 18 years old, and I think by the time he's 20 years old, he'll probably be about 16-0 and ready to go. So, I think he's going all the way. But look, critics are all part of it. Everyone gets critics. I'm sure you get critics, right? Do you? I mean, you shouldn't. I think you're very good, mate. Very good. But everyone gets critics, and it just helps drive you. He's got good people around him. He's got a tremendous manager, tremendous promoter, tremendous family, and I think if he keeps himself grounded, he'll go as far as he wants to.
Do you want to talk about the main event, Zhang-Joyce, Zhilei Zhang rematch? I've been talking to a few fighters in the last couple of months since the rematch's been announced, and David Hay, I spoke to him and I said, David, what does Joe need to do? He goes, mate, he just needs to move his head. He needs to make sure he's moving his head. I spoke to Joe, I go, listen, David said, you just need to move your head. He goes, there's a little bit more than that, but yes, I do need to move my head a lot more. First time around when you saw that fight and the backhand was landing, was it just the simplicity of maybe him just moving his head out of the way, or is it a lot more to this?
Well, look, I think that's obviously part of it. I think collectively, if you're on Team Joyce, you were like, why aren't you just moving that head? That was collectively sort of what was going on. But I think there's a lot more to it. He came in too light. I think everyone sort of accepts this. I think he'll probably be about stone heavier, to be honest, this time around. And I think Zhang's going to be a bit lighter, just having seen him. He's just Zhang's got a new strength and conditioning person come in. All of these changes he's made, and I think we'll see a lighter Zhang, a heavier Joyce. And I just think this time Zhang-Joyce knows what Zhang's about. Probably heading into the first fight, he did underestimate him. As much as he's an Olympic silver medalist and all of that stuff, Zhang-Joyce is the juggernaut, and probably just thought, okay, well look, I've chosen you as my opponent. It wasn't like a mandatory. I chose you, and you're the perfect fight, which will give him sort of good profile, good fight with Hrgovic and all of that, and then he'll go on and fight for a world title. People are talking about everyone's got a plan until they punch me in the face and nothing happens. It was all a bit of fun. Zhang was treated almost like a Kyotaro Fujimoto when he came over for Daniel Dubois. He went for a Chinese with Big Johnny Fisher. He was talking about chat shit, get zanged, all of this stuff, comic stuff. But it's serious now. It's really, really serious. And I think now that Joyce has a little bit of fear in him for Zhang, just like he had a bit of fear in him for Daniel Dubois all those years ago, I think he'll box better. I just think we'll see a more cautious Joe Joyce, someone that actually respects who's in front of him.
Fair enough. I do want to talk about other stuff in boxing. Obviously, Tyson Fury getting ready for his outing in Saudi Arabia, signing obviously with the Prince, Turk, who seems to have signed Joe Gallagher as well. There seems to be quite a bit of news coming out. I want to talk to you about obviously the skills challenge you obviously were dealing with, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. It seems to have gone a little bit quiet. Dev, you're in this boxing scene. You deal with some of these Saudis. What are you hearing?
I don't deal with anyone, mate. I think collectively at Queensberry we're very comfortable with what is going on and what's going to happen in Saudi. Fury and Ghannou's a huge event, kicks off Riyadh season, and there's great things happening there. And look, we're just excited. I'm not going to speak on any of the other relationships or anything like that because I don't really know, and I don't really want to commit to saying anything that may not be correct. But Queensberry are good. Queensberry are happy. We've got Fury and Ngannou coming up. It's massive. You saw the press conference the other day. Everyone, the world and his wife were there. Hundreds of millions of views online, and it's good to be a part of.
A rivalry that I didn't really see coming along is Carl Froch and Tyson Fury. They've had a bit of a back and forth. Carl Froch just responded in a video he did yesterday. What do you make of that? Obviously, Carl's talking about Tony Bellew and Carl Froch not making the money in boxing, they're just jealous, whatever else. And obviously Carl's come back and said, listen, we just want to see the big fights and whatever else. But what do you make of this sort of rivalry that's blossoming right now?
I don't know how much of an actual rivalry it is. I think obviously people are presenting to Tyson little snippets of what other fighters are saying to get a reaction like Tyson will give. Tyson will give it to them. Froch will go back. It's just good for everyone, really, to be honest. Froch will get more views on his YouTube channel. It will get more hits for you, more hits for everyone. Just fighters talking about fighters and stuff like that. It's all fun. It's all part of the game, and I think Carl Froch can be very, very humorous at times. So no, I did think that video was funny yesterday.
People like Carl Froch, Simon Jordan, who do like to just stick out the truth, don't care if they hurt anyone along the way or hurt anyone's feelings along the way.
But they stick out what they think is the truth.
So let me just say that what they think is the truth. But it's not good for boxing. They seem to be getting a lot of fanfare. A lot of people are behind them and like their views. Do you think it's good?
Yeah, look, I just think people with a platform talking about the sport that we love, talking about the fighters that we love, is a good thing. Even if they are criticising, it's still good for profile. It's still sending the names up. Tyson Fury, everyone wants to talk about Tyson Fury right now because he is more famous than ever. He has crossed over. He has become a Netflix star. He's had #1 hit singles. He's done ITV documentaries. He does everything. He went to Saudi Arabia. This is his second Riyadh season. Imagine that. He was there with the WWE. So everybody wants to talk about Tyson Fury right now. I'm sure you'll probably put him in the subject line of this, because I haven't said anything about EH. So, look, everyone wants to talk about him. It's good for everyone, and he's great for boxing. He brings more attention to the sport.
But do you understand sort of the negativity online when people are saying, listen, Tyson needs to be fighting someone like Usyk, even the Anthony Joshua fight? For people in Britain want to watch it. Yeah, but there is, when you look at online, you can't deny it. When you look on the comments, there's a lot more negativity towards Tyson than there's ever been once the announcement of this fight came in place.
It's very easy to be negative, and that's what people generally are, just generally negative on social media. Twitter is a cesspit for activity like that. But look, I would just say for those who are saying, but we wanted to see Usyk. Hey, I did as well. So did Tyson. It wasn't Tyson that pulled out of that. But we wanted to see AJ. Hey, AJ went the route of fighting White and Wilder, didn't he? Right? So we couldn't do that. So I would just say, stay patient. Enjoy this huge event. He's got Francis and Ngannou to get through, who can whack very, very hard. And then let's see what happens after that. But the fights that everyone wants to see, everyone wants to see them. Everyone's been trying to make them. So hopefully they come to fruition.
Obviously, talking about Usyk, obviously fought Daniel Dubois a couple of weeks ago, and there was an appeal from Queensberry in regards to what happened? What obviously you guys deemed a low blow, but is there anything come back from that? Do we know anything about that right now?
It's not a me thing. If Frank was here, I'm sure he could fill you in. But I don't know. Let's see.
Can I ask you though? A lot of people after that fight are saying that was a declining performance from Usyk. Do you think that was a declining performance from Usyk, or did you feel like Daniel gave him some questions in that fight?
I think he was just in with a heavyweight who can hit very, very hard and wasn't afraid to throw his shots. And I think you could see there that's what can happen. And he's been vulnerable to the body. We've seen that. We saw that in the AJ fight where he didn't like it, and he manages to sort of convince the referee that it was low. Is he declining? I don't know, because ultimately he did come on quite well in that fight. After everything that happened, he did come on quite well. I still don't really give him any chance against Tyson Fury. I think away from that fight, after that fight, his stock did dip a little bit because people have seen him on the floor, rolling about. And a lot of people think that's from a body shot, me included. So your stock doesn't go up after something like that. And yeah, I'm very convinced Tyson Fury would do whatever he pleases to him. He'll be like 50 pounds heavier than him. It's mental. Like, do you see Tyson Fury the other day? Like, it looks massive, right? But he sort of looked like that in Wilder 3. Wasn't too much difference. People saying, oh, he's so heavy and all. Wasn't much difference to what he looked like at Wilder 3. And what a fight that was. And that was a big, strong Wilder who was trying to chase Fury up in weight. Fury ended up knocking him out. Had to go through fire, but had the heart to get up and knock him out. And there could be a 50-pound weight difference between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. That's bad news for Oleksandr Usyk. That ring will get smaller and smaller and smaller for him, and I think he'd end up on his back.
Actually, final one before I let you go. Anthony Yarde's going to be also fighting. It's been a welcome return. A lot of people have obviously praised him for his performance against Artur Beterbiev. Unfortunately, came short because Artur Beterbiev just seems to be a machine. But Anthony Yarde put in a performance that has elevated his stock. What's the plan right now? Obviously, he's going to be fighting on the undercard, and then after that, are we looking at top fives?
Well, I hope so. I mean, there'll be the press conference tomorrow. Frank will be there as well. I'm sure Frank will outline what sort of plan he has for him. Looking at it from a fan, I just want to see him, fighting people that we know. The Beterbiev fight, he traded with him blow for blow and gave us so much that night. He won the respect of boxing. He hasn't always had that, by the way. All the tippy-tappy pads, all the stuff with Tunde, all the lions in the camp stuff. People would throw shade at Anthony Yarde and Tunde Ajayi. After that, you can't. After giving it all like that against a Russian machine like Beterbiev, you can't have a go at him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does do next after Saturday.
Dev, listen, it's always a pleasure to talk to yourself. I know you've got other media members that want to, there's always a queue now, Dev. So yeah, you've got other media members that want to talk to you. I'll see you tomorrow. Are you doing the press conference?
I'm doing the press conference, and I'm expecting. Remember the first one? It was quite funny, wasn't it? Everyone was like, "Oh, I'll bang everything," all of that sort of stuff. That it was a laugh. It's not going to be a laugh tomorrow. There's going to be an edge to it. Do you know why? Because Zhang-Joyce's whole career is on the line. You can't have a laugh in that situation. So tune in.
So man, Dev Sahni, thank you very much.